Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I'm giving a quick update announcement. Well, two to be exact. And one of them is the name change of the podcast, the Poetry Space Podcast. For all those who have been OG fans of my podcast, you know that it had two prior names prior to the one it has now. It had the Poetry Space, the Poetry Corner podcast with Matt Foster. And the reason why I chose that one was simply I was a big avid fan of poetry, and I wanted all my family and friends and my loved ones to know, hey, I have a podcast. Go check it out. You know, it has my name on it. You can't miss it. And I didn't think that it was going to branch out and be as big as it is now. I had no idea. I had no clue, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't think I was going to have a single guest on my show. I didn't think I was going to have a single person on my show. So that's why I called it the Poetry Corner Podcast. And then a couple years later, I think in 2023, I decided to change the name of the podcast to the Poets World Podcast. Because, the Poetry Corner podcast with Matt Foster sounded entirely too long to type in a Spotify or Apple Podcast or Google Podcast spacebar. It's entirely too long. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to make a title and I'm going to design a graphic that really sticks out, to where it's short enough, the title is short enough to catch the eye of, the listener. And the podcast color, graphic will stick out as well. The logo will stick out as well. Lo and behold, I just felt like the design was too generic. And while I did like the name, because it was designated and dedicated to all the poets around the world, I just felt as if the design and the name was just too generic, and it was just drowned out in the sea of all other podcasts. So I decided to go with something new. November 2023 hit us, and Thanksgiving was upon us, and I decided to go with an idea for another name change. Sounds crazy, right? It sounds absolutely crazy. How many times do you got to change the name of a podcast, right? So I then began to think to myself during the holiday season, maybe, just maybe, change it one more time. Change it one more time. But really make it resonate. Really make it stick. Really make it relatable. So, December 30th came around, 2023. New Year's Eve was, upon us and everything like that. And I was like, you know what? Everybody out here making New Year's resolutions. I want to do something else. I want to go a whole new direction with it. I want to do a whole 360 change. So I started with my podcast. For all those who, been tuning in, I started with the podcast, I started with the Facebook business page, and then I focused on the YouTube channel. And then created a TikTok right after that. It was like boom, 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 and I wanted to designate and dedicate this name, this logo, to all the poets. You know what I mean? And so I thought to myself, this podcast is a safe place, a safe haven, a space for all poets. I said, ooh. Then it resonated with me. I said, a safe place, a safe haven, and a space for all poets. I said, the Poetry Space Podcast. I said, fantastic. There we go. Let's have at it. And that's when it resonated with me and it clicked. And I was like, you know what? Perfect. I'll go with this name. And I had to just redesign the entire platform. all social media accounts, and to where even my Instagram, I even changed that to focus solely upon, the YouTube channel. And that way, it really resonates with the audience. It really resonates with the listeners. It really resonates with the poets out there. So that's why I made an episode recently, why I changed the name and all social media platform titles in unification to the Poetry Space podcast and the Poets Avenue YouTube channel. I really feel like I lost sight of what I created this podcast for. That's just my personal perspective. It's nothing against you guys. It's nothing, to say, hey, I'm done writing poetry. I'm done with having guests on my show. I'm done doing this. I'm done doing that. It's nothing against you guys. I promise. I guarantee you. In fact, it's a guarantee. It's nothing against that. I just felt it was time for something new. Every other episode, I felt like when I was going through my list of episodes, in chronological order, I was like, dang, every other episode is about relationships. I was like, is this a relationship podcast or is this a poetry podcast? And I just felt like I wanted to get back on track with everything. I know the YouTube channel has been absolute dead for 8, 9, almost 10 months before I revived it. And before that, 10 months prior, I didn't have any new content up here. I just had animation reviews. A lot of them I took down because, the content didn't make sense. There wasn't enough, statistical proof in it. It just felt like I was rambling and just going on a tangent. And I just was like, I don't like this. I don't like putting out content like this. It's mediocre and low tier content, and you guys deserve all the very best content that I'll be putting out going forward from here. And that way, I started doing a lot of poetry performances on, I started doing a lot of my poetry performances on Rap Fame for all those who have been tuning in the last, year or so, and posting them here on YouTube and everything. And I'll be doing a few more. Don't get me wrong. I'll be doing a few more. I'll be doing more reactions to those poetry performances as well. Starting next week and everything, getting that kicked back up. I also want to talk to you guys, ladies and gentlemen, starting, I think, I'm going to do this in April or May. Because March, you never really know the weather's going to be warm or just going to still feel like winter or it's going to still snow. You never know with March. March is a funny month. It's a funny month. But anyway, long story short, starting mid-spring, I do want to start a secondary channel based around, cars. Car fanatic, always have been, always will be. And one of the many vehicles I am an absolute avid fan of is the Panther platform vehicles, the Ford Crown Victoria and the Mercury Grand Marquis. They don't make these cars anymore. It's absolute sad that Ford doesn't make any cars like this anymore. They're absolute gems. They're absolute diamonds if you take care of them. And I myself have a Grand Marquis and I love it. I absolutely adore this car. And I want to start a secondary channel based solely upon these vehicles and everything. I'll talk about other cars as well, from statistical facts of what their concepts were like to the final product and everything like that. And I will speak about their drivability, their practicality, their comfort, and everything, all the good bells and whistles and all that. I'll be reviewing all that as well. But I will start a second YouTube channel based solely on cars, so look out for that mid-spring. I just feel like, guys, I really feel like it's time for a new. It's time for I don't know. Time for something new. Time for something new is what I'm trying to say. I'm stumbling a lot. I'm tired. It's been a long day. Ladies and gentlemen, bear with me. But I think it's time for something new. And I need to get back to the basics when it comes to the podcast. So therefore, it's going to be more poetry based starting next month. I will still be having guests on the show talking about relationships and, marriage advice and all that, and friendships and all that good stuff. You know what I mean? That's all, vital to life. But I'm going to make this podcast more literature based, whether it's storytelling poetry, spoken word, button poetry, whatever it may be, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to have it all here on the podcast and everything. And also on the YouTube channel, like I said, I'm going to start a secondary card channel. And I just feel like, I don't know, there's only so far you can do with try not to laugh reactions and all that. Because there's so many YouTubers in this space that are doing that, and I don't want to lose sight or lose focus of what I, conceived this YouTube channel for. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you all have a beautiful and blessed evening. I know I got on here and I rambled a lot. I talked a lot. I thank you all for listening as I chatted away. I hope you all have a beautiful and blessed weekend. Weekend. The weekend's over. I'm still stuck thinking it's Sunday, guys. I hope you all have a beautiful and blessed evening and a beautiful and blessed week. I will see you guys tomorrow, and I will be uploading a video tomorrow for you guys and all that, and we'll go over some things and as to what I want to discuss going forward with content. But anyway, I love you guys. I hope you all have a beautiful and blessed evening. Peace.